Hello everybody and welcome back. It is Jeff again, coming to you from the Mindcrack vanilla server, and I basically just dug a tunnel from where we last left off, way up there. This is the surface where my doggies are. I was going to see if I could find a cave out here before I left, and amazingly I stumbled upon something by digging down. I started hearing sounds, so I dug around, and this is what I came up and under, and it's going to be entertaining to do. But I figured this is something that we can do while this is going to be more of a kind of me doing things in the background episode, as opposed to an episode very much dedicated. Oh crap, I don't have blocks in my bar, that's not good. As opposed to an episode of me dedicated to actually, like, you know, focusing on Minecraft, because I had a request from a viewer named Steve Hodges. He really wanted me to talk about, because of my proximity to the situation, like my physical proximity, not actually having anything to do with it, but just physical proximity to the situation. He really wanted me to talk about my thoughts on what's happening in Baltimore. And now I will tell you, one of the things that he asked was if anything from my area was sent over there. I will tell you that in Montgomery County and DC both, as well as PG and all these different places, Montgomery County is where I'm a firefighter at, and I know the counties have sent over police forces. They haven't sent over any fire apparatus or anything that I am aware of at this present moment, but I'm not sure if that's going to change at all. So to get that question out of the way, I will probably have absolutely nothing to do with, getting called out to go assist with anything like that. So nothing like that. However, he also was asking me about my thoughts on the whole situation, especially being right here. I will tell you, situations like this, very much, they make me sad and confused all at the same time. And so, for those who maybe don't know, haven't been watching the news, I mean, it's relatively new. It's kind of ongoing as we speak. Not really wow, these guys are going crazy. Not really ongoing per se, because right now it's kind of at a standstill and a stoppage, which is good, but nobody knows if that's where it's going to stand. So today is Tuesday. I actually just got done with a class for the fire service that I'm going to talk about in a later episode, because it's very entertaining to talk about those things. But it's Tuesday, and I will tell you, just in general, around the area here where I'm at, things are definitely different right now. There's a lot of stuff going on with there being no, a lot of the schools in Baltimore being closed over the, today, got shut down yesterday. Look at that golden record. Guude would be so jealous. Schools and things like that all being closed because of everything that was going on, and it makes life different in the DC area in general. I will tell you, I just drove back from my class, and I'm coming back from an area that is kind of a main route to go to Baltimore, and there was way less traffic than there normally would be in a day like this. So it's affecting a lot of things in the city in completely different ways, but that's not what I'm here to discuss. Just the effects it has on me mean absolutely nothing. I want to talk to you about what's actually happening with the whole thing, and my opinion and my confusion and so everything about it. It all makes me sad. The initial reason that it's going on, now it's not even official, I guess, the reason that's going on. It's just an excuse. Something, and this is where the lines get so convoluted to me. It all started because of a gentleman who was in police custody, who happened to be a gentleman of color, he died in police custody. And yesterday was the funeral, which is kind of, in a way, what sparked the whole thing, even though that's not official. It's not official that that's what sparked everything. It's just, the well-understood thought process and what was supposed to start the peaceful protests, quote-unquote, that turned violent and all of that stuff going on. Now, that situation in itself is extremely saddening. Yes, somebody was in police custody, whatever happened, whether it was a mistake by the police force or not, I'm not here to get into that. I think those are issues that need to be taken care of on a completely separate basis. Things like, that are happening is escalated by the stuff going on, that happened recently in Ferguson and all the other areas with all this, this quote unquote hate crime that's going on. That stuff, it's all issues that need to be examined, need to get looked into. And yeah, I think the Ferguson stuff, when it went through and they did their, reports, and they did an investigation into the police department and all, and they're like, yeah, this police department has been like corrupt and doing all these horrible things for years. It needs to change. And yeah, that's sad that things have to actually come to a situation where a change is actually needed because people are being, wrongfully killed or wrongfully even imprisoned, or all the corruption going on in these places. Yes, I understand that. You're not going to sit here and hear me say, no, corruption's fine, it's allowed to happen. Of course not. What saddens me is I don't understand, and I'm sure I'm with most of the people watching this video, most of the people in general in the nation, most of them I would say, but I don't understand how people think that there is progress made with violence and rioting and things of that nature. That's where I get extremely confused. I am so lost, and I'm so glued to the news, not just because it's so close to home. I was glued to the news when all the Ferguson stuff went down as well. I was glued to the news everywhere, like back in the day, back in the 90s, Malice Green, Rodney King, all that stuff going on. I was much younger, and I was still so like shocked and like, what is happening? I don't understand. People rioting. Like, as a child, I'm trying to ask my parents, why are people like, breaking into these buildings because something happened to these individuals? I don't get it. What is that like? Did they own the people who hurt them? Did they own these businesses? My parents were trying to explain to me like, what's going on back then. And in the 90s, I was, a teenager and, early teens, things like that. I need to drop these dogs off. It didn't make any sense to me. I didn't get it. Like, did the people who hurt them, like, own these buildings? Like, they own a lot of buildings, man. There's a lot of fires going on. There's a lot of people, getting beat up. There's a lot of people going on. So many more people were involved than I thought. I thought it was, these 5 cops with the Rodney King thing. Because the whole thing made no sense to me. And flash forward, here we are again, happening a few times in the last year with, between Ferguson, a couple other places, but, now going on with the Baltimore stuff, is there's all of a sudden we're protesting to show why things are so bad and why there needs to be a change. We're protesting this violence by being violent and thinking that it's going to prove a point. Now, I'm a person who I try to look at things from every angle possible. So I sit here and I rack my brain of, okay, what possibly is going through people's minds that's making them think that this could, a potato, he dropped a lot of stuff with this looting sword, that this could possibly have a positive impact on what they're fighting for. And I come back and I think the only thing I can even think of, and it's reaching far, but I'm trying to give people the benefit of the doubt for why they think that this is a good thing to happen. And it's maybe they feel that if they riot, that then people will be afraid to do like any type of crime in the future. Like the police will have to be much less brutal and lethal because they know what's happening and waiting around the corner. If my skeleton, they know what's happening and waiting around the corner if they happen to, do something horrible like this again. Like New York, I was surprised when, you guys just pushed me around. I was surprised when the whole New York thing happened and that, gentleman with the cigarette wouldn't drop the cigarette or whatnot and got killed by that chokehold. I was shocked New York didn't riot. Yeah, they were upset. I thought there was a riot for sure about to happen. Oh, iron shovel. What a random thing for you to drop. I'll take it though. And I'll take your iron bar. It just didn't make, I was happy that there was no rioting, but I was also shocked that there was no rioting that happened in the midst of all that stuff going on. So I don't know if it is, is it trying to instill fear so that nobody wants to do anything like that, or they'll think harder about it? And like I said, that's far stretched and far reaching. And that's what baffles me, is that the people are out there because they really think that whatever it is that they're doing is doing something positive. And now I'm at my class today in the fire department. There's some people in my class who actually live in Baltimore. They live in the areas of Baltimore that are being affected, and there's somebody who lives outside of the area of Baltimore that's being affected, but still in Baltimore. And amazingly, the guy who lives outside of Baltimore in the area that's not directly like the brunt of the situation per se, he says that his windows got smashed. Now, this is spreading from anything, just a lot of people are saying that it started because the police presence, that's what people escalated this whole thing because of the police presence was too great. And people, I really just think they don't know how to express themselves. They want to stand up and protest, but they don't think they're going to be heard or understood without having something that makes national headlines to do that for them. And unfortunately, that's an extreme problem because it's just going to end up with a bunch of mass chaos and damage and people getting hurt, people getting arrested, people's homes being destroyed. But these people are just, this guy saying, yep, my windows got smashed in yesterday during the riots and I don't even live in that part of the city. And it's what is this expanding to? People are out there, they're talking on the news the whole time about this CVS that's in kind of the main area of all this stuff, and how it's just basically an empty shell at this point because people have just destroyed it and looted it all. How is that proving your point at all? How on earth are you out protesting the fact that somebody was killed in police custody, or died in police custody, I should say, by robbing and looting a CVS store? How does that mix at all? And it saddens me to think that, back in 1968, they said it was the last time the National Guard had been called into Baltimore. In 1968, they had riots because of Martin Luther King getting killed. Now that one, it was a completely different time, and I still don't get it, but I also have to keep in mind that that was a completely different time. Martin Luther King, some man who stood up for, black rights and one of the big pushers on getting, blacks the rights to, the right to vote and to show that, we do have a voice, we should be there. Great man, love Martin Luther King and everything he stood for, and he gets assassinated, and that started some riots. Now, I still don't understand why, okay, he got killed, so therefore everybody, let's go start rioting and damaging people and flipping over cars and destroying businesses. That's still, I don't get it, but it was a different time. I would think that we've grown since that time frame, but apparently we haven't. Apparently that's still our response, is to sit there and say, okay, this bad thing happened, let's riot, let's loot, because that's going to solve something. Now, a lot of you guys watch this channel. A lot of you guys out there, younger people, younger generation. I know in my channel that there's a lot of people my age and people even older than my age that watch it. And I'm sure many of you guys, like I said, have the exact same opinion on me. It's just, it doesn't make any sense and it is confusing. If you guys are part of the younger generation, even if you're part of the older generation or my generation, there's still time to make a difference. But, we're obviously not going to be we're not the future leaders necessarily. It's the younger people who are the future leaders. I want these dogs to sit down. That's the only reason I came up here, was to have them sit down so that they'd be on the surface. I can go explore that cave more and still come back and find them by looking at my coordinates. Okay. Sit down, doggy. And I want to go back into that cave. You also sit down, doggy. There we go. Okay. There we go. Those zombies can follow all they want. Now I'm going to be in the midst of this cave and come find those guys in the surface later. But you guys, the younger crowd that's watching this, you guys are the future leaders, the future followers, the future everything of this nation. And it's time to, hopefully you guys are looking at this and not looking at this as in, look how much progress they're making from what's happening. But you got to look at this and say, look how much anti-progress they're making because this is happening. And I really think that's what's going on. I don't know why you followed me, buddy, but you can come now that you're ironically a dog of darker color who decided to follow me down here somehow. Are you going to follow me now? That's really strange how that happened, but either way. Oh, I thought there was a cave that went down here. Guess now we'll find one. Yeah, to realize that this is negative, it's negative progress that's being made because it's just making people, it's so funny to me when people try to make an argument for something, and part of the way that they make their argument is by being completely hypocritical about what they're arguing about. Why should we outlaw smoking, and why smoking is bad, and cigarettes are horrible, and they're killing the future generations and shortening lifespans and all this stuff. All true. I'm not denying that. But also then that same person going, but let's push to legalize marijuana. Okay. I don't believe marijuana should be illegal if you're going to have things like cigarettes and alcohol legal. I've talked about this before in a couple different forums. But don't go pushing to make cigarettes illegal while at the same time pushing to make marijuana legal. It doesn't make sense. Yes, there's more toxins in... I dropped my pick. Oh, there it is. Yes, there might be more toxins in, cigarettes, manufactured toxins that are, put in there. I understand all the arguments that you can make. It's just the principle of the thing. It's in my opinion, it's a very hypocritical argument to make. And it's, I don't know, it's like the whole, and I'm trying to think of a specific example of it off the top of my head, but the whole gay marriage thing, wasn't it John Kerry who is completely like against gay marriage and then has a gay daughter? And it's not, I mean, I guess that's not really hypocritical on him per se, because it's not like he purposely had this, gay daughter or whatnot. I don't even know. I'm probably spreading like rumors and lies. It's probably not even true, but I'm pretty sure that is true though. But it's just when you come back with a hypocritical argument about something in order to prove your own point and don't see the irony of it, that's where I find it weird is, oh, we're against police brutality. Police have too much power. They're making things too much. Let's go throw rocks at policemen. I mean, yes, there's a whole higher story and everything that goes along with it. I'm not, naive to that fact. I'm just trying to put it in very simplistic terms to prove where my confusion mainly stems from. And it's just this hypocritical thought process that they're making a difference and they're standing up for something they, quote unquote, believe in by just being more violent. And then when you spread it even past the violence, okay, you're upset that police are the ones who were responsible for a death, so therefore you want to hurt policemen. Okay, I can make that connection. I don't agree with that by any stretch of the imagination, but I can make that connection. So you're upset with the police being the ones. Look at this crazy ravine and lava way down below. But I'm upset with the police because this, they're responsible for this individual's death in your mind. So let's rob a CVS and flip over a bunch of cars. That part doesn't fit. Like, that's where you have lost me, where I have been led astray, and where I am just confused at what your intentions are or ever have been. And now I'm running through a very dark cave because I lost my torches. I really want to continue exploring this cave. Yeah, so the whole situation, whether it be somewhere near where I live, whether it be in the town that I live in, whether it be across the nation, whether it be in a different nation, my thought process on it is the same. I want to say it's the same because, it's obviously not happening in downtown DC. Who knows if the riots spread to downtown DC? Maybe I'd have a different opinion on it. I don't think I would, though. But it's more just confusion. One of the things that I was really happy about when I was watching a lot of the coverage of the Ferguson stuff when it was ongoing was there was some, these young blacks that were, mainly, talked about as the ones that were, raging and all that stuff because of what was going on. Yet they were still interviewing some people of the exact same descent, of the exact same age, who were looking at their friends, their colleagues, and what they were doing. And they were like, guys, this isn't, I watched an interview with this one guy who was just like, I don't understand what's happening. I don't understand why they think this helps. This is just hurting everything that we're trying to stand for. Like, I used to be in the peaceful demonstrations and the peaceful protests, and when it turned into this, I couldn't do it anymore because this is not what I stand for. This is not what I believe in, and they're completely proving the opposition's point, and I don't understand how they don't see that. And I was just like standing up and like, bravo, young sir, like you hit the nail on the head. And I'm so glad that you have your goals and mindset is in the right place, and you aren't even afraid to stand up and say this, because he was saying this in front of a group of his friends that were like rioting and looting, and he was trying to say this to them, like trying to convince them to stop. And I don't know how successful he was, because obviously the interview piece only lasted so long. I think things started getting thrown all around, and they ended up disbanding from that area. And I wish I could remember that young guy's name who was saying that. But things like that made me like happy that people are seeing, hi buddy, that people are seeing where this is wrong. But the problem is they're so overshadowed by the people who are continuing on with the rioting and continuing on with this stuff because they think it's making this positive difference. I don't even know. I don't even know if you can get and say that they even think it's making a positive difference, or if people are just literally one thing leads to another, it gets out of hand and they don't know how to stop anymore. And I think that kind of is a little bit more of what it has to do with, is they just don't know how to stop anymore. If you wonder why I'm aimlessly like bouncing around here, it's because I don't know how to get back to where I was. But I mean, that being said, it's a very sad situation. It's a very sad thing. And yeah, since I was asked to talk about it, I figured that I would talk about my thoughts and such with it. And I'm sure, not everybody necessarily agrees with me. Not everybody thinks I haven't put together the most newsworthy statement. Like, I've been listening to a lot of NPR and reading a lot of news articles on what's going on today. And yes, they of course put it in a much better way. Their thoughts and opinions, they rehearse it. I'm not a newsman. I wouldn't mind being a newsman. That'd be kind of cool. But I mean, I'm more I shoot things from off the cuff. I've never been somebody to script stuff, because I can sound not scripted, but at the same time, I like to just shoot from the hip with a lot of things. I used to do really well in speech class when I was in high school, and any speeches I did in college, because I used to get the comment all the time that, Jeff, you didn't even look at your note cards at all. Like, you had that speech down. It's like, no, because my note cards are blank. I just had them there because they were a requirement. He told us to make note cards, but I just kind of shot with this speech off the, shooting from the hip, because I just wanted to get it out there and make it seem as rational and realistic as it possibly could, that it was truly my opinion and not just something I researched and I am now regurgitating what other people are saying. Rioting is bad. End of story. No, it's just my reasoning and thought process and why this whole situation is messed up and confusing. And I try to understand their point of, why are they doing this? Where is it coming from? Do they think they're making a difference? Do they think they're doing something good? Or is it just that it's getting carried away? I don't know. At this point, I don't know, but I would really just urge future generation, look at these examples and take them and realize what a negative effect this is having on everybody that's involved, and try in the future to not be like this if possible. I mean, like I said, 1968, different time, same thing happened. I thought we'd come somewhere else as a nation by now, to a spot where we wouldn't just decide rioting was the way to go, but I guess it hasn't happened yet. Anyways, kind of a sad note, but my editorial, my opinion. Guys, your resident firefighter, nurse, and YouTuber. See you guys next time.